We're on. Hi, it's the Dead Set Show.
Straight on. It was very silent. It's like
Instant. Hey, yeah, this is the Dead Set Show. I'm Jax. Duffy's. Yeah, welcome to a couple of young idiots talking about things that are probably way out of our depth.
yeah. That's basically a good way of putting it.
Yeah, something along the lines of that.
Good
Yeah.
definitionally. Yeah.
We had an episode last week, obviously. Well, not last week, no, Thursday. And it was atrocious.
Yeah.
It was pretty bad.
Particularly the audio, particularly
Yeah,
the
that's
layout.
audio. I mean, we were great.
Yeah, we were having a fun time. Yeah, it was sort of embarrassing on my behalf with seeing that I've worked in a lot of audio type things in my life, and I got that wrong.
Sin bin.
Yeah, but I have adjusted accordingly, and yeah, we've figured it out.
We
So
should be good.
should be good. Should be good.
Should be good. So,
Yeah.
what do we got on for this week? So we got same setup as always. 3 topics: social commentary, religion, politics.
Yep.
So this week I said I kind of wanted to go through Australian politics and the difference between. I mean, a lot of people that are on social media are pretty familiar, I think, with American politics and all the kind of social dilemmas, things that affect the country or their policies. But not as many people are informed, at least my age, from what I find. Yeah, people don't know who they're voting for, and for the majority of the time, they'd rather just not vote. They'd rather honestly just not vote, or just vote for whoever they sort of, trust most, says to, whatever seems to be the going bandwagon. Yeah, it's pretty bad. So
Yeah.
I thought I could kind of take everyone through a bit of a listing of what the actual political situation in Australia is.
Yep.
What the parties are, how they differ from America, directly, and yeah. Then next week we'll go into a bit more detail on some of the actual individual policies of each. Yeah.
Yeah.
We had for religion. You wanted to.
Yeah, cover a bit of the Dead Sea Scrolls. We're gonna just unfold that a bit more today. Just searching for the validity of Old Testament prophecies and into how historically where and when they were written, and how historically accurate they can be, and just sort of unfold that.
It's all
And
bullshit. It's all fucking bullshit. It's bullshit. It's bullshit.
Nah. You gotta really, you gotta see all this. This is quite overwhelming evidence.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we'll find out. We'll find out.
Yeah. So.
And then I guess the social commentary side will just be me talking absolute shit, and yeah, and Duffy's talking absolute shit. And
Yeah, it's a sort of Sunday fun day for us. We're not really going to go too hard into too much topics. We've had to take about a couple of hours to figure out all this audio quality sort of production setup. We've made the banners just a lot more bigger and clearer. The videos a bit closer, so you can actually see our faces a bit clearer. Yeah, all the sort of fun stuff in the back end that we just had to take some time to figure out. But yes, it's been quite the journey in this this afternoon, and
it's been intense. It's been a big mission. But
Yeah.
hopefully everything looks better this time.
Yeah, we
You
really
can see us now. Hi.
yeah, the cameras are are at a lot better place and position, so I'm very very stoked for that. Oh, nice. We got a
Oh, hi. We got Tani's in.
Oh,
He's
yeah, Tani's
He's
in, eh?
Hi, Tani. Hi. Love you. Yeah, we're not going to be talking anything about your country today, unfortunately, but you can just enjoy my antics, I guess. That'd be about it. Yeah. Also wanted to find out for whoever does kind of view this between now and next week, as few of you as there will be. There's a couple of ways that we can kind of go about this. I can provide a whole lot of information on whatever topics we want to talk about. Like, I'm happy to do that. I'm happy to pre-research, obviously provide sources and even pull that up on screen for people. if they want specifics on things. Being on political side. But I don't see why people don't just investigate themselves these days as much. Like it's
It's
pretty
harder to
easy.
get the information a lot of the time too because you have biased
I
sources, and
mean,
then
yeah, there's that.
it's misinformation's fairly a common
Mm.
reoccurrence that we do go through a lot of the time.
So I was thinking that could be a fun way of doing things to instead of kind of already pre-writing a bunch of points that I want to make and having the facts behind it. Instead, we could explore it together at the same time. We could pull up a screen
Mm.
for the stream. Yeah, we could actually investigate these things in real time, like go through the websites. Yeah, see what they are. There's no profit in what we're doing right now, so there's no real like kind of copyright infringement on us to do that. For now at least, it could be a fun way. Yeah.
Did you
So
say intingement?
in infringe.
Yeah,
I'm pretty
infringement.
sure I said infringe. I don't know. Maybe I missed it. Yeah, I missed your F. Yeah, so let us know what you kind of want to see. If you would rather see someone in real time, yeah, kind of investigate a little bit deeper. On especially like we're gonna go through some videos, some reels, some big things that happen. I guess kind of more. What would you call it? What's the word I'm looking for here? Vibe with me. Viral posts.
Yeah,
Like
there you go. You
viral
got it.
videos,
Yeah.
things. So we'll kind of investigate deeper into the claims that people make.
Yep.
Yeah. Outside of that, that's about it.
Yeah.
You want to go first?
You can start. You can start if you like.
Okay.
I know you got a lot to talk about, so I feel
Yeah.
I feel like I'd be yeah.
Well, first things first. Australia isn't technically a two-party system as per such. Like we are, but we aren't.
Mm.
In America, there's Democrats, Republicans, left, right.
Yep.
Over here, we actually have what would be the Nationals, the Liberal Party, and the Labor Party. But we what they've done is make a coalition. So it's now the coalition. So you have the Liberals and the Nationals kind of conjoined in one party, and that's against Labor.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely a little bit different. Like the Conservative Party for us is Liberals.
Yeah, it's weirdly like worded, right?
So you're a
'Cause
conservative. Define how you would say what you are as a conservative.
it's just more a traditional value-based system in the most basic way I could like put it, like the most like should I do that one there? Yeah. The most basic, yeah, in the most like simplest form. It's more traditionalism than anything. It's not progressivism. It's I think we found a formula and it does work. And when we come up with new crazy ideas, there's always repercussions to these progressive crazy ideas, even if they sound great surface level. But that's yeah. I mean, a lot of conservatives would claim they would be Christian, but you don't have to be a Christian to be conservative. I don't. A lot of people would agree with me on that one, but yeah. So it's not a progressive political stance at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Well, speaking on that then, what would you say, funnily enough, what do you think of? I'm going to put you way on the spot here, but you're going to have to send it. I'll say mine after, but what's your position as a conservative on the legalization of gay marriage?
Yeah, so
Legalized in 2017 in Australia.
it depends realistically, definitionally there I see the big split between conservatives and say liberals that's American sort of saying, right? Because liberals in Australia are more conservative. But
yeah, see, liberals are conservative.
I'll say the difference in at least in the right and the left, in which I agree on, is that, or at least what conservatives will say, is that definitionally it's like that's the difference, is we have different definitions of it. Marriage should be a man and a woman and should be in the basis of trying to have a child, and that's a marriage. It's man woman to make a family, and that's just what it's always been. Um, when gay marriage and is part of something that it's not man woman, it's man man or woman woman woman, like, yeah, that's sort of where the definitions do change. um so a lot of like conservatives will say like gay marriage doesn't exist because it's like saying up down, like you got to be either one way or another, you can't have both. um and so yeah, it's a bit of a different definition to my belief. Is we just There's different definitions to it, and that's why both parties don't agree, because it's a bit of that's
But are
the
you
culprit.
for or against the legalization of, not morally, but the legalization of in this country?
I think if you think marriage is just to exert your love more and deepen it, then that really isn't what marriage should be. It should be for man, woman, and to potentially generally have a child. And so therefore making it legal, in my stance, is a bit of a struggle, because it doesn't really make sense to me, because that doesn't make sense definitionally. So I would say legally no.
Fair.
And that's not anything against anyone of that belief. I just,
So
if you need marriage,
what if the rule was? Well, there's two parts to marriage, the way that I see it. Probably the way that most people see it. There's the legal side of it, and then there's the spiritual side of it, I guess.
people like to get married just for the papers too, like just to be on the system, the tax benefits.
Well, that's the thing. If they were split in any way or form, would you be all right with that? Like, let's say if it was legally binding, it was legally okay with the state. You got all the tax benefits, everything like that, but it wasn't recognized by like the church. It wouldn't be done in a church.
Yeah, I feel like if it was owned, like, I know, but then that's the thing. If I was to say if it was its own separate domain, it would cause segregation, which I wouldn't want. And yeah, maybe that
Like
like
segregation between like people married through the church and people like gay
not
people.
yeah, because I wouldn't, like, that's, I think the church is open to everybody.
Well, then what if there were people that were non-religious that then got that same sort of, legally binding form of marriage but didn't get it done through the church? People that were like happily, say they were atheist, whatever other thing. Would you be okay with that?
Yeah, like it doesn't affect me, but personally, but I don't know. I just think if we ruin what definitionally these things mean, I think it destroys the meaning a bit, and it does. I don't know. Like, yeah, it provides inclusion, and of course, people want that, and that's fine. But I think it just definitionally doesn't work. It doesn't make sense in my brain. Like, it just,
Okay.
yeah, that's just sort of where I stand. It's like, yeah, I like, if marriage means that and we're doing it like a different way slightly, then it shouldn't really be marriage. It should be something else. But if people need marriage, which I would argue is like a biblical thing, and yeah, it goes in different cultures and all that sort of stuff, but I would say, like, in the Western world, we got married for those beliefs, and it was to have a family. And now it's just to like accentuate what love means. But what would getting married change that? And a lot of people tend to get married in churches. Some people do other different themed ones. I've been to different weddings that are very different themes, but yeah, I think it definitionally does not work. Like, it doesn't logically work. It's just doesn't, yeah. And it's, again, not to segregate anyone, but if you truly, like, if you say, if you love someone and you want to be with them and you're in the same sex, like, what would marriage do to accentuate that? Like, why would you need that? Like, I think marriage is more, it's it's deeper for people who want a family.
Yeah.
So
So I have a much simpler opinion on this. I think it's unfair to let gay people get married because having a relationship with the opposite sex is fucking hard. Like, it's so difficult. It's like, it's such a cop out to cop all that tax benefit. Like, for me and you to just be like, bro, let's just dock it. Let's just sign the ring and
You
let's
and me, you and me,
send it
right?
for 10
Straight
years.
guys could just literally just jip it and
Yeah.
go.
See,
Let's
that's
just
my
pretend
thing.
to be married and we'll get the documents. And I mean, you could do that.
And people say to me like, "Oh, but like, you know, there's people that make sure like you're actually in a relationship." AI is pretty good, bro. Pretty sure I could take a photo of us like this close together kissing and then just whoomp, like AI that shit and just I'd get away with it. 100. There's so many. No, it's unfair. It's unfair. It's so easy. We see gay couples like all power to you, like all good. But you guys have it so easy. You get on so fucking well. That's so unfair that you get all the tax benefits. Have you ever tried to put up with the opposite sex? Like, if you're male or female, it's fucking horrible. For like long periods of time. Like, the first thing's great, but like, yeah, try do that for an extended period of time, like without some solid foundations in place.
You just need the same values. I think if people have different values,
Nobody
and
has values anymore. What are you talking about? That's something from like the 1900s, bro.
Yeah.
Values don't exist anymore.
yeah, I know they don't. I know the values really set marriages like made them really work out back then a lot more frequently.
I just think it's for me that's the only thing. And then I just think I can't imagine how you could do it legally and then not, you know, through the church, because I've always just kind of like the whole thing is literally you do it in a church. So it's like I don't know. I'm not Christian. I honestly I can have an opinion, but I didn't vote on this and wouldn't because I'm nor Christian nor gay. So it doesn't apply to me. That's the thing. Like, I'll live in the world, but this one thing doesn't actually affect me. I don't think it's okay, but not to the degree that I'm going to vote against it. I'll only put my foot in the door if it actually affects me.
Yeah, that's a valid point. I
think if
guess,
you're Christian, you get to have a say because it's part of like a whole thing that sits in your beliefs. And then if you're gay, you get to have a say because that's your life, whatever it's your country you live in.
And I voted. You know, I voted back then because I was most of my life I was left leaning. But I voted that they should get.
See, here's where it gets tricky though. Left is in.
I would just say I was there for the particular time of my life. I was very woke. I won't say very woke. I was just woke.
Oh, we all were as a kid.
Yeah,
like, everyone was as a kid. Like everybody was the only kid that wasn't woke was the kid who was like beating the shit out of every other kid. Like, that was the only the giant kid whose dad was like 7 foot tall with a beard and they lived in the bush and just like did some crazy stuff like threw axes, and there was like one of them at every school.
Yeah, there was always that one kid.
I think we can both, if we like,
I feel like I
three
thought,
names and we'd match exactly who we're talking about.
I
went to multiple schools. I've seen multiple of these kids.
Yeah, I thought of a few people already. Anyway.
Yeah, well, that's that's not really something that I'm going to put my foot in the door on. It's just it's not involved for me.
No, that's fair. That's fair.
Funnily enough, that was a Conservative Party thing, which was a Liberal thing. That was who was it? It was Turnbull. Yeah.
Oh, Malcolm Turnbull.
Turnbull. Yeah, it was Turnbull's part. It was during Turnbull's time, which was the coalition, which is conservative.
Yeah.
That proposed yes for gay marriage.
Yeah. Right.
So.
Wow.
How do you feel about that?
Well, that was their choice. I still hold my
I see that
definitions.
as just that's like how do you vote in this country? How do you vote for the right party when to me
when they
definitionally conservative, like Christian conservative would then mean no, they're against anything and like that isn't in the Bible, which would mean no to gay marriage. And then you have the political party that is conservative that's voting yes for gay. But like, how the fuck do you make the right decision in this country? You've split all these things. You've where normally it's like there's like clearly like progressive and then traditional. You've just done this complete floppy warp thing, and you've left us all just going, no wonder why nobody gives a fuck.
Yeah.
This is why I'm doing this. Otherwise, I'd just be like, you know what, you're all idiots, you don't care. No, it's like, I understand. That's why I'm proposing we explore the information, because it's so fucking hard to find out.
It's a lot of just
what we're
white
looking at.
noise after that, because it really just gets to the point of like, yeah, it's just all mixed in. It's like, wait, how did they vote that? Why aren't they holding these true like values? Wait, what? I thought these guys. And so it's just all like, it's just all just mixed now. You don't really, people aren't really truly one side. It's all just, I guess, a matter of opinion, really. But opinion can only get really so far until you got to look at some data. You got to look at some stats. Well, I mean, that doesn't really like, you know.
I don't think it
doesn't
helps.
really
I don't think
help
it even
towards
helps
that, but
because this is just so
it's just-
flipped and warped and mixed. It's like,
Yeah,
what if
it's-
I'm a Christian conservative and I believe in certain, like I believe in every other conservative value that's in this thing, but I really don't want there to be gay marriage. So what, I have to vote for Labor that year? Like, it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't.
Why
Yeah.
would you do that?
Yeah, it's sort of just made it a lot harder to
You
realize
put
where
us in this
you go.
impossible fucking weird yin yang thing.
Yeah, it's like prismatic classes from
It's-
Destiny 2, dude. Like, I'm just.
Go Destiny 2.
Yeah, yeah.
So good.
We're gonna have to stream some of that at some
Oh,
point.
yeah, I am. Yeah, no, that shit's too fun. Yeah, so that's a bit of a weird thing. So that's what I mean. It's a bit mixed. It's really hard, and I don't blame people for not being able to come to a decision on what party they go for or be able to say.
It's
Like,
hard to vote here.
I don't blame anyone for being like, I don't get it. I don't know how it works. I don't understand it. It's stupid. Rah rah. Like, it's a bit ignorant, but it's also a bit understandable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's corrupt.
And look, I feel like if people
New South Wales
if people would give
specifically.
more facts. So the problem is in this country too is that we have a very suggestive way of speaking to each other, where when we talk, like, here's the thing: you ever seen like America, like, you know, you see like ghetto areas of America, and like a big thing in like African American culture, like you'll see a lot of them say like, they'll be like, you know what I mean, or you know what I'm talking about. And they do. They're like, yeah, no, I get you. It's like, you don't have to keep repeating. No, I understand. I get the vocal train you're on. See, we sort of have that without saying that in this country, I think. You'll say something and you don't have to go into too much expressive detail. People kind of catch on, and that's led. You see that in like old Aussie guys when they start going like, yeah. When
Yeah, they're
you're
just
saying what you're talking about.
Yeah.
But when it comes to issues like this that are so complex, people don't realize how much it gets missed. Like, I see people's parents and like older people talk to younger people about political issues, and they're not able to express exactly what they're saying in detail because it is so mixed up and there's so much to it. It's like you would have to sit there for 20 minutes to hear the backstory behind it. And I don't think that's, like, I'm not saying that's any fault of the older generation. I think that's the fault of it's so complex and mixed in this country with issues like that directly that are like, what are you talking like? Can you not see that someone's instantly going to be confused? If the only thing you know about politics, if you're a young person and you've sort of just caught on to like the word conservative,
Yeah.
you go, okay, and then you hear somebody start talking about, the Liberals and the Labor Party, rah, rah, and the fucking, no, vote Labor, these fucking stupid liberal conservatives want to fucking vote yes and gay marriage. You're like, what? Are you tripping?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. You're
how
like,
does
what's-
that make sense? I can understand why people are like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, what's it? You'd be questioning the messenger like a lot of the time, like saying that shit. You know what I mean? Going, oh yeah, this, and you're like, what the? Wait, what? No, this guy's not talking.
It just
to Lily.
doesn't make sense.
And then it actually is like, oh wow, like yeah, there's just, it's like yin and yang. You've got like a bit of the white dot here, and then there's the left side of the white part of the yin yang. You know what I mean? It's like, what's going on? It's
Yeah, exactly. You got like little issues mixed in. You got little bits of liberal sprinkled in with Labor, and little bits of Labor sprinkled in with liberal, and you don't know what the fuck's. It depends, I guess, what's the more important issue to you. But then it's like, there are so many things. How can you decide what's like? How can you every election decide like what's the one most important issue, or like couple of things I care more about than the others? Like, should you not be able to vote for the party that represents all of the decisions and opinions that you have. And if there isn't that, then what do you go for? And with the two-party system where the majority... See, what happens is if you vote for an independent party and they don't win,
It goes to another...
it stacks out until it leads back to one of these two majors. So what happens is there's so many votes that go towards these parties that are just this kerfuffle mixed up of shit that neither of them are kind of worth it. So what I'm sort of proposing is that, and why I say we should explore is, let's maybe explore to find out if there is an independent party that's probably worth voting for. Because if enough of us actually switch on and do it, maybe they'll win and we could have like a functioning country where some of us could buy a house.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty fucking great. Like, I'm
well,
pretty
that goes,
sick of
that
paying
sort of goes
literally
to,
$1,000 a week in rent for a 4-bedroom house in like a place I grew up in.
Yeah.
And I live in a 4-bedroom house because like I used to have 2 roommates and we had a bunch of stuff. Now I have, one in out. It's one and potentially the next, like we've had thirds again since then, but it's
we need more
expensive.
Expensive. Australia's a big enough country, but the problem is we need more infrastructure for the amount of people we're pulling in, because we have all these cities built and these areas built, and there's a lot more land that could have areas built, but a lot of people like obviously closer to the coastline. And you do see that with the population sort of increasing around all that, all that area of Australia. But we need more infrastructure, and to be able to do that, like we need people to do that, but we have too much people and we're not building the infrastructure, and it's just overloading, and like it's nuts. Everyone's, everyone always rocks up late to work because of the traffic, and it's like, it's just getting overwhelming. Yeah, there is a major factor into that, and most Australians will probably agree on us with it when it comes to the immigration sort of policy of Australia.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that you sort of want to delve into that.
Well, that's the next thing is, what's the biggest issue between... See, one problem that both political parties don't really fixate towards much, and they don't really do much about, is the immigration policy. How current immigration is going. Sorry, give me a second. I have a naughty dog. Chief!
Hey, look at him. Oh, he's in the cam. Look at him. All right, come on, Chief. You go outside. Go on.
Give
outside.
Me a second, sorry. 1 minute.
Let's do this one. There we go.
Sorry about that. Sorry about that.
We just
I'm back. Yep, we have a naughty German Shepherd outside the door there.
He just wanted us to come say hey.
Yeah, he's a sweetheart.
Maybe we'll have him randomly pop on live at some point in
we'll see
upcoming episodes. But
we'll see how we go.
He's a bit of a cutie.
Yeah. So immigration, it's definitely something that's always talked about from people that are concerned about stuff going on in our country. Obviously. It's look, the local claim right now coming from the the more outsourced,
the grapevine.
No, like the more independent political parties and their followers. The general claim, if you're anything involved in this right now, is there's roughly 1,500 immigrants per day. Yeah, one thing that's crazy hearing that straight off the bat, but obviously you're like, wait, there's plenty of people that say there's nothing to that. So, just as a fact, just as a pure fact on this matter.
Is that like 500,000 a year or something?
You do the math on it, but here's a fact. So something that people can't dispute is the Australian Bureau of Statistics, ABS, right? They're not affiliated with any political party of any kind. That's just plain old numbers. they do denounce the claim that there is any research put out that there's 1,500 people, 1,500 immigrants per day in Australia. What they do say is, um, for the year ending December 2024, net overseas migration was approximately 933 per day recorded.
Mm.
933 recorded.
Accounted for.
That's accounted for.
What about the not accounted for, Jax?
Okay, so for me, you got to understand the story is like I first hear this claim and I say, okay, that's insane. Like, what do you? And then I go, oh, maybe there's some truth behind it. You never know. I mean, it is fucking ridiculous trying to afford anything. The fact that it costs $10 for a chalky milk is gnarly.
Yeah, what the? Isn't that crazy? You like an oak chalky milk? It's literally like $9.80 or something. Like it's like what? What?
You should see what a 2-bedroom house near the beach costs.
Oh, you have to be loaded. You have
Yeah,
to be
no,
loaded.
it's impossible. We're moving into a point where it's like it's not even like you have generational wealth and you're one of the rich people. It's like you either have generational survivability from inheritance or you are just a slave to the big cog at this point. It's getting insane. So my thing is when I hear claims like this and instantly I say, well, where's the fact behind it? You know, what's the whole going thing? And the people on the opposite side are already saying, absolute bullshit. No, lie, 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 lie. There's nothing worse than somebody that calls somebody else a liar when what they said was so close to the truth it may as well be fucking pressed against it. Like, it's basically the same thing. Like, sorry, but an accurate claim of 933 people per day accounted for, and then you do the math of the people that are unaccounted for, well, who are you to turn around and say these, like, and it's the fact that you don't go, no, that's the numbers are a bit off. It's the fact that everybody on the opposite side of things turns around and goes, no, that's a lie. It's a bold-faced lie. It's a lie. It's a lie. It's a lie. You are the problem with planet Earth, legitimately, if that's the way you approach these types of things. Like, if your instant go-to is to dismiss somebody else's claim because it's slightly off in numbers, like slightly off, I can understand a disproportionate difference, but slightly off, and that's proven without a doubt. And then there's the unaccounted for like thing that you kind of have to just use common sense and just, you know, reasonability to come to a conclusion on.
Yeah.
It's just, it's shit like this that makes an issue. There's a complete lack of, like, anyone who's interested in this at the moment on the bigger scale, it becomes their fucking life. It's everything they do. So if it turns out they're wrong, then the world's over.
It's hard, yeah, it's hard to admit those, or at least, you know, try and get out of your head that some of the things that you hear are just some of the things that you hear, and it's not really based on factual evidence. And that's the thing. It's like it's hard because some people obviously, like, surface level, it sounds like, yeah, of course, come like a lot of people want people to come to celebrate their country, and yeah, like, great, yeah, that's awesome, like, it doesn't do any harm, we're in a good country. But then you realize, yeah, like Jax was saying, the cost of all your groceries are going to go up, the cost of everything's going to start increasing, and because you have more people and it's harder to house more people, so things become rarer, they therefore become more valuable. And
I'll be back.
yeah, it's a bit of a cycle. So yeah, those things, it's when it comes to that, it's hard to say the truth without actually sounding like a bit of an asshole. And it sucks because then you get sort of made out to be one when you're just trying to say what's factually true, which is what Jax was saying. The how many people was it, Jax? 933. 933. 933. And that's accounted for again. um,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's
So
stupid. It's stupid how quickly people just dismiss the other side as lies when it's that close. So my thinking is and stuff like this is why you need to investigate further. This is why I want to go into investigating further because it's if not done, if somebody you trust says that whoever makes that claim of 1,500 immigrants are coming in per day, somebody you genuinely trust turns around and says, no, that's an absolute bald-faced lie. And you take that on board. Like, you're done. You're kind of sitting that the other side's a liar. Like, it's so easy for people to just go, oh, okay, I hate liars. Like, liars are bad. This is why, like, the jargon you use against people is really important. Like, you can say something isn't accurate, but turning around and calling someone a liar for making that claim is just, you're setting them up to fail for everybody else that's heard that. And it's like it's just slandering them. It's not an accurate depiction. I'm really against this idea of it being okay to be like, well, some like those facts are not quite accurate. They're a liar. You're a fucking liar. What do you mean they're a liar? Like that's so close to the truth that you're just talking literally out your ass. It's stringing out of you by the gallon. I'm
forgive them for what they do. They do not know what they do.
oh yeah,
The
you
influence is
conservatives
immense,
maybe.
and it's unfortunate.
I don't know. I'm a primalist. I say kick them out of the tribe. Say you're a problem. Fuck off. That, that's just it makes so much more sense. It makes so much it gets it done quicker. We need to have a period of just seriously condemning people that condemn others so quickly because the condemnment's hard
I
to
think
wipe off.
Crowther,
You throw dirt on people, it doesn't come off that easy.
I think Stephen Crowther said something along the lines of that recently.
He's 100%. He's an advocate. Look, anyone with a brain's an advocate for it. It's funny how most comedians kind of have their heads screwed on right about this. It's funny how most comedians are like, yeah, we should probably be able to say what we want, be able to take a joke, not go out of your way to make someone miserable and just fucking get along.
Mm.
Why is that such a hard thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just not everyone's at war at each other's throats at the moment when it comes to that sort of stuff. So it's just rough to see. I think like there was this video. Maybe we can pull it up one time, but it's of past presidential debates. Sort of around the 50s, 60s sort of era, and they're so respectful to the other person of the other side. Like they're basically friends,
Well, it's just a
we
better
don't
way of
have
being.
that. We don't have that anymore, and it's I would love for that sort of respect and that honor and that what's the word I'm looking for? Just that social
Decency?
Yes. God, I wish we could live in a world that was a lot more more prone to that, And now it's just sort of we just shun each other and diagnose each other. It's really sad. And I say diagnose in a way of everyone just likes to throw slurs at each other and they don't even know even what these slurs and mean definitionally, and it's just it's all over the shop, man. It's all over the shop.
So, on this then, the political side, what I'm thinking is, we're going to do some more investigation. We're going to look a little bit deeper into some of these parties' policies, blah blah, things they're for, things they're against, why it's such a fucking stupid mix-up, and Then we're also going to investigate a little bit deeper into some of the um, independent political parties.
Ah, nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we all probably know Pauline Hanson as the Australian Trump to a degree.
I was
Like
about to.
that's probably like the best relation like I can kind of, you know what I
People are
mean?
leaning. I see a lot of people leaning towards
Look,
her.
it's picking up there because like look, there's a difference between her and like say political. So she's not like she doesn't consider herself like a political conservative, but like you
Mm,
could say she's like stands for traditional values.
she's a more traditional.
Yeah.
That's her.
So when you see her like say things like Australia was founded on Australian background, which isn't necessarily Christian, but it is like, you know, semi-Christian, you know, foundings, and she
Mm,
doesn't believe that there should be the burqa. That was a whole thing Pauline Hanson went about for ages, where probably a lot of people kind of first seen her taking the piss out of all the people that wear burqas.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
so when I see someone like that have a stance that kind of, you know what I mean, that stands on traditional values on something like that, and then I also see her against same-sex marriage, and then I also see her for free speech. It makes sense. The logic follows to me.
yeah,
You know what I mean? It's not such this mixed thing, and that's probably because it all stands on kind of it's all a political party that's, you know, there's supporters, but it's all founded behind someone's, you know, beliefs, their opinions,
yeah,
their
yeah.
agendas. But
And I see a lot of young men would sort of like gravitate towards
well, look,
that
it just
too.
makes more sense.
Particularly mid to late 20s, sort of when people's political beliefs sort of become a bit more foundational, or at least start kicking off a bit.
Well, what do you
But
like? What's the? How are you supposed to understand what way to swing if they have these, you know, opposing beliefs within their policies like that don't make sense? Like how you basically have to change it each year,
mm,
and it's fucking ridiculous. How like you have to look up new info every single year rather than just to sit on like your beliefs and where you sit on like, you know, here's some information, blah blah, what their policies are like forcing. But now it's completely like it's so much work to understand
yeah,
what sides sit for outside of like an independent, because inside of these, like say the coalition, you know, it's a coalition of the nationals and the liberals. So it's there's these opposing beliefs within this same political party, and they change and vary and do these things. So how can you possibly follow without taking a big chunk out of your time to look at this? And then
yeah.
how do you do that amongst all the propaganda and crap and agendas of pages and people? And like most people get their information from social media these days. It's all reels and things like that I see most young people kind of get their background from. It's just
Mm.
like, you know, news articles like posted from
Well, that's what I
somewhere else,
hear.
long form videos if they
Yeah,
have the time to
that's what
watch
I
them.
hear a lot of the time now. Is people going, "Well, I heard on TikTok this," and you're like, "That's your first problem.
Well,
You heard it on TikTok."
there you go. So how are you supposed to
It's-
find out the information? Like how are you
yeah,
supposed to understand what like the liberal what the liberal coalition stands for, blah
mm,
blah, they're conservative, all the rest of it, but then that they're for gay marriage, and how are you know what I mean? Like how can you possibly support how could you stand for that like same thing? Like you know what I mean? If you were like a hard conservative,
yeah. It's
hard
hard
on your
to.
faith, how do you support that party? And then if you're
Yeah,
the opposite, how like if you're really against that and you're really, you know, progressive, how do you possibly stand for the conservative party because they want to legalize game? I'm
it's
using that as
just
an example. Like that's just
yeah,
one example. Like we're going to explore more things, but that's just obviously like that's just a prime example where I understand there were many mixed opinions on, and it was something that was very hard for people to talk about, and it was one of those things that was kind of like unless you were quite brazen with your opinions and you sat within your circle quite comfortably, people with the same opinions as you, people kind of get their mouth shut on that. And
mm,
like other than, you know, social media, like, you know, bloody spam posting and fake accounts and all the rest of it.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's
there's
the
there's
fake accounts on
oh,
social
the fake accounts
media,
are crazy.
man.
Like the whole
Oh,
the stat. What did Joe Rogan say? That it was I'll find this. I'll clip it or something. But there's like, what was it? It was out of the the top 100 Christian Facebook sites,
Mm.
90% of them, or like the top nine, no, it was the top, the top 8 of them, nearly the top 10 of them were Russian spam things. Like they were just complete, like infiltrated spam accounts. Yeah,
That's crazy.
there's some gnarly shit you can do on social media to push an agenda. So you got to be very careful.
And then you see the
about,
bots
yeah.
fighting each other. The bots, like there's things now on like even like X that you could see bots fighting with each like other bots on political things in comments on a bot's post. It's like bot cubed.
Mm.
Like what the heck is going on here? It's so strange. And then we'll see that and we'll be like, wow, everyone's ripping each other's heads off. It's a weird,
It's a rough world.
weird, direction we're going. I'm very,
So we'll
very
do some
scared of AI. Very.
which is why, so it's not crap, just generated shit that we're doing, which is why I would like to do this exploratory of more, call it a lecturative kind of, investigative style, where we're going to actually look up the information in real time as we do the stream, post the whole thing as is, link the sources, but you'll get to see us actually find this info and how we find it online.
Yeah, we'll figure out a way to do
stuff
it.
that will probably be. A lot of it will be stuff we'll be seeing for the first time ourselves, which will be refreshing. Like I said, we're only young.
Yeah,
I'm not really picked on one side or another because, as I've said, it's a shit fight. But yeah, I would like to go into next week some more detail on one for next week specifically. One of the independent political parties.
Cool. Cool.
And we'll see what the legitimacy or the crap behind that is. And then we'll see how we go. But
Should we take a break?
Yeah,
and,
I would like
we'll
to.
do a bit of we'll come back in about 5, we'll start on some more topics.
Your religion thing will be next.
Yeah, I'll start on that one if you like.
Oh yeah, religion next.
Woohoo!
We'll be back.
Too easy, guys. Thanks for tuning in. We'll be back in a few minutes. Hectic.
Oh, howdy, folks. Sorry, I smell like cigarette.
Lol.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I can't sit in long form conversation like this without some nicotine. I'm addicted. It's horrible.
Yeah, I think it's it's a poison that a lot of us deal with.
That's alright. Don't start. You'll be right. As long as you don't start, you'll be fine.
Yeah, just don't never pick it up.
Yeah, you'll be.
Listen to Healthy Harold. Listen to Healthy Harold.
Oh, how good was Healthy Harold back in the day?
Dude, Healthy Harold.
Do you ever come across those really gross, gory, like, like the guys that make like the big Les show and stuff? They'll have done some weird format like version of Healthy Harold being like some gory predator creature like kids or something. And I'm always like, no, don't do that.
I feel like I've seen.
Don't do that to my giraffe.
I've seen some animations on that, to be honest.
Oh, it's horrible. I hate
yeah.
seeing it. People are nuts on social media. It's funny.
Particularly the AI now. I see all these. I don't really want to be shouting out any AI things, but there's this Sora 2 AI version thing that everyone's like uploading on socials at the moment, and it's literally like you'll have Martin Luther King speeches like changed, and the one we heard the other day was hilarious. And then there's like a lot of chiropractor ones where like people just get thrown through drywall, particularly like older old women. I don't know why. And then what's another one? They've got like these are all AI videos that people have prompted
I've tried to forget them. Like I've purposefully tried to
and a good reason to is because I think we're all going to start getting distracted a little too much by AI videos soon. Like way too much, to the point that like these videos are going to consume us because it's stuff that we would never see in the real world, and if it would be a very rare occurrence.
Didn't you just literally the other night you were showing me one? Well, I was like, no, I can't watch this for long periods. And it was like, it was a Sasquatch in one of those slap fights with a dude
Oh,
in a
in it,
wheelchair,
yeah,
and he just
handicapped
smacked. It
man.
looks so real.
Real.
Like
I
it's
don't.
it's
It's
terrifying.
it scares me. It scares me. But oh, yeah, anyway, let's get into a bit of we'll just scour the realms a bit of religion right now.
Yeah, what's your thing? Go on, give us your argument.
So of course, I mean, last episode, I mean, I went into the topic of the Dead Sea Scrolls. They are a collection of Old Testament books, sort of predated. It sort of backdated the historicity of them a bit earlier to what we thought the Old Testament manuscripts were. I think around 1948, that was when we discovered them. But one of the things that really stumped me is that, like, how do I I'm a believer myself. I've only really just come into the Christian faith about 2.5 years ago. Um, I quit. I'll just have a very brief introduction to my testimony. Is that I was just really curious into why 93% of the world believed in God or a higher power. So I just wanted to study a lot of it, and I was very interested. I scoured the realms of Islam for a while, particularly because there was a bit of that influence going around on social media, and I was like, well, I'll start here. And
I remember when you called me. I remember when we spoke and we hadn't spoken like a couple of. Oh, it was probably like like we would always catch up, but like I moved away, so I lost touch with people for a little bit while I was trying to do the big boy family thing, and yeah, then you told me that you were reading the Quran and you were considering you're probably like on the boards of classifying yourself as a Muslim, and I remember my thing was like, oh, yeah, that's cool. I just suggest, if nothing else, you look up some of the arguments for why it's like it's a horrible, violent religion, rah, 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 like because a lot of like the arguments against it that are like, no, no, not true. It's actually bullshit. I was like, there's actually some pretty messed up stuff in the
because that's what,
Quran.
yeah, I was in the belief of maybe we all got it wrong and we were all just treating Muslims really poorly in the Western world,
Yeah.
which I did
I
see
remember I was
growing up
open to it when you
because
told me
of,
you were, because I was like, oh,
yeah,
okay, well, if Duffy's into it,
and
I can respect it. I'll look in, but I have
yeah,
seen myself literal.
I yeah, I crossed a particular surah. It's 434. I urge you guys to look this up, but it basically says if
I'm on it. I'm on it. I'm on it.
yeah, yeah, go for it, Jax. Definitely, I would like you
Surah
to read this
434.
Surah 434. So see, yeah, it's. I think a lot of men will disagree with this and women. And I think the problem is it's upsetting because I don't think most Muslims do really live by this because I do particularly like I meet Muslims that I would say have a considered good people, but just don't live by truly to the book, which I could say Christians do too as well. I guess we all fall short. Um, but yeah, these things are very concerning.
This is hard to translate. This
Mm.
is like
Admonish them.
people struggle.
Mm.
What the 434? Is it? Does it start with men are the protectors?
Yep,
Yeah.
I think
Okay.
so.
So men are the protectors and maintainers of women,
Mm.
because Allah has given the one more strength than the other, and because they support them from their means. Therefore, the righteous women are devoutly obedient and guard, in the husband's absence, what Allah would have them guard. As to those cho- as to those women who on whose part ye fear disloyalty and ill conduct, admonish them.
Admonish. Look up what admonish means. Admonish. Sorry, admonish.
Admonish is what it is.
Admonish. Look up what that means definitionally. And it's say
Admonish.
set them in beds apart and beat them because I think that's a translation in
Oxford Languages Dictionary. Warn or reprimand someone firmly.
Mm. Right. And then what did the rest of the text say after admonish? Was that the end of the text? Because there are different. I have two
Yeah,
different.
no, that was the first bit. Next, refuse to share their beds.
Yep. Set them in beds
So,
apart.
as to those women on whose part ye fear disloyalty and ill conduct, admonish them, refuse to share their beds, and lastly, beat them. In brackets, lightly.
Yeah. Do you like how they put brackets there? Right. Lightly. In other. In a lot of the parts of the Quran that does not have those brackets, it just has uh beat them.
So,
Uh,
quick format: you cheat on me, schmack is basically what it's saying.
yeah, if you fear
Oh,
disloyalty
if I
or
fear disloyalty, if I think you're being disloyal to Allah,
yeah, right.
gnarly,
So
gnarly.
I don't. I think a lot of men and women would agree with me to say that I think we have our roles in society. Men should be, they tend to be good protectors and providers, and women are good nurturers. And I don't think men are fulfilling the role when they have to hit their wife, dude. Like, what is that? Um, yeah, it's a bit of a pill to swallow. Uh, that was the start of me walking away from the Quran.
Yeah,
I knew that that could not be the word of God.
yeah, it's a bit gnarly.
Um, yeah, and then
It literally states how one has more strength, and then it says to beat them.
we should never use our strength
Yeah,
against women.
no,
I don't think
that's
that's the we're
definitely
all
not to
taught that.
beat.
Not yet. Like that's
Like,
and set them in beds
for
apart. So
instance, like
like
using your strength against women is appropriate. For instance, prison. Like, you literally have to like hold down some crazy murderous women and cuff them and put them in prison, and that's totally like applicable. I can understand
yeah,
that.
yeah. If it's
But
in the
the
area
fact
of
is, this
justice,
literally
you'll
says to beat them.
yeah.
Like, this isn't saying use your strength against them, or
It says beat them.
it literally
And
says, and lastly, beat them. Refuse to share their beds, and lastly, beat them.
mhm.
So yeah, I
Would
don't know
you
about
consider
that.
if you were trying to figure out what the word of God was, would you consider that be godly or a godly statement from God?
Yeah, well, no, no, that's kind of gnarly. That's like, yeah,
Mm,
it's.
right? That made me just go, hold on. I was wrong.
I mean, push like push if like it's just it's fucked on both angles because it's like it's morally obviously it's apprehensible
Mm,
morally, but it's
mm.
not gonna work either.
How's yeah, you just
Like,
what
it's not gonna
now
work.
let's like inflict what trauma on
Like,
your
yeah,
wife,
what's the
dude?
point? Just like,
You're gonna feel what like the are you like you'll feel like the convictions you're gonna feel and that's just you. What about what your wife feels, dude?
well, I guess that's
Like
the thing.
what the
If you don't,
trauma she cops?
you gotta remember, if you don't feel bad, it's not as bad. As, doesn't have that many bad
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
outcomes.
right.
If you just
You're
don't give a fuck, it'll be
yeah,
okay. It's the best option
you
as long as you just don't give a shit.
that's yeah, hardening your heart in the yeah.
Praise Allah.
Not no. No.
Well, fuck, that's the thing. That's
How
what they want.
yeah, right.
That's what they want.
That I and
That's
again, look,
fucked.
I don't want this to be me to make fun of any Muslim because we can all again argue that, people who are followers of Jesus can't follow his footsteps exactly,
Hey, we haven't
we
said
all
anything
fall.
about Muslims. All we said was about this quote.
Right, yeah.
Like,
But I could see,
plenty of
them
Christians don't
getting
know the whole
upset about
Bible.
that
Like,
and
yeah, but that's the thing. Plenty of Christians don't know the whole Bible. Plenty of
of course,
Muslims don't
yeah.
know every single
I
quote
don't,
in the
yeah.
Quran.
I could not tell you everything that there is
It's
to
the same
do
thing
with
with
the
politics.
Bible.
It's why I
It's
don't blame
even
you
though I
for being
study
ignorant.
it. Yeah.
I don't think you're wrong for not understanding a massive, complex thing that has huge. Like that's why when you told me, and I knew about certain things,
Mm.
not that I knew about certain
It
other
sort of just
quotes.
hit
I
like
didn't instantly go, "Oh, you're awful." It was like,
it was like, yeah, that's what it probably
well,
says, right? Or that makes
what
sense,
can I
right?
expect you to understand everything that's in the Quran? Can I
Mm.
expect any Muslim to understand everything that's in the Quran? No.
No.
Like, no, that would be stupid. So it's like, as much as you're obviously just, you're just trying to make sure that people don't feel, bad about it. I don't. I
Yeah.
think it's implicitly, it's obvious, it's ingrained within it that there's no, there's, it's not a condemnation of Muslims. It's not a,
Yeah, it's
we're not
just the
condemning them for their belief. Nothing like
mm,
that. All it is literally an exploration into that word of thing, and
mm,
it's as simple as you can be a conservative and not understand that the conservatives of our country voted yes for gay marriage. There's
mm.
things going on
Goes
in life
opposing
that
to the
you can't
conservative
be
belief.
expected to understand,
Mm.
like at any one given point. You can't know everything.
Yeah.
Like it's you just hope to know more.
Yeah, that's it.
You
If
just
you're
hope
a
to know more.
student to life, in that, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
but
But that's the thing.
yeah,
I don't blame any, and that's why I don't condemn any. I don't condemn any
mm,
Muslim per se. Like
um,
unless they understand. Like it'd be a different thing if you're a Muslim and you understood that verse and you stood for it. Different thing.
yeah,
But then it's not really. I'm not against you for being a Muslim. I'm against you for you being for a certain thing. It's not really like the whole
that,
Muslim thing entailed. Like it's
yeah,
part of it. It's something that makes it up,
um,
but it's not the thing itself.
yeah. So yeah, no, that's when it comes to that, it's yeah, sort of walked away from it, and then, um, I had a cousin of mine, who is sort of he walks in the faith, he likes to follow Jesus's teachings, and he saw, I had a lot of discussions with him on my journey, and he would keep saying to me, he'd be like, "Talk to me when you want to know the truth," and he would say that blatantly to me, and I respected that because, like, going through the sort of journey of the Quran, and when I talked to him, he particularly, like, I was sort of at a crossroads, like I didn't know where to go next. Obviously, I had to discover Christianity or figure, what that was a bit more in my adulthood life, because I think particularly when you're younger, you don't particularly understand that stuff. Um, it's like anything. It's like for some reason, when you're an adult, math becomes like a bit more like interesting, and you're like, why wasn't I interested in this in school and science or whatever? And the same thing was for religion, I think. So I delved through that, and when I got to that point of going to, the sort of area of the Bible, um, I sort of felt that like going through different spiritual texts, a lot of things pointed to Jesus or Christ or the Messiah, um, which was sort of like the thing that remained constant. And uh, I grew up like I grew up, I was baptized, but we sort of fell out of the faith in my family like fairly early on, and then claimed to be atheist most of my childhood life. But my cousin that night wrote to me that if you say to to yourself that you believe in the Lord, and you say it in your heart, you will feel like the Holy Spirit. And I was just like, oh yeah, surely not, right? Like that just that doesn't sound believable. But it is a bit also crazy to me, because I was like, well, Jesus is one of those figures that like just seem to always pop up in religious texts. Um, and so I found out always when I was growing up, I just randomly prayed in sort of hardship times, just to be like, all right, let's give this God thing a go if you're real, And I think a lot of people have done that, admittedly, in certain times of their life, which is it's a weirdly universal thing that a lot of us come to crossroads with. But yeah, I ended up like confessing just to myself that, like, okay, I do believe that there is something here, and maybe I will just confess that sort of belief if I delve into this a bit more. And I did, and I learned a bit more to the Bible, and it seemed that there was some truth to that. But when I claimed my words, that I put my belief in my words, the weirdest thing ever happened to me, and I was literally like brought to my knees. And I had this like immense feeling of love in my heart that I've never felt in like my life. I couldn't ever put a feeling to it ever. It was just nuts. And that's where, like, obviously my testimony, people would have to admit, oh, well, like, yeah, you have to like admit that, that's my claim and that's all real. But it was real for me. Like, it was the most real thing I felt. And that's like when I knew, like, there's there's something to this. And then I started looking at other people's testimonies I've never heard of before, and they are saying the same thing I'm saying. And I'm like, there's no way. Like, they're short. Like, I wrong this? Like, I was just like, I was just like, I couldn't even speak. Like, I couldn't even formulate words. It was just like, there's no way that there's like this is. It's all pointing to this. And then
Mm.
I've been on a journey to try and, since I've been in a secular mind my whole life, I want to try and figure out what I can show to people from what I've learned over the past couple of years after that has happened, to sort of figure out a way to be like, there is some credibility here. And that's where I get to the Dead Sea Scrolls. Now, Dead Sea Scrolls, again, I was just got into it before, but I was looking into the Dead Sea Scrolls, and there's particularly some uh, there's Old Testament manuscripts and scripture that is very, very accurate to what we have already established as the Old Testament. Um, and this is before Jesus was ever alive, in this world, right? And so yeah, there's particular texts. So I've got a list here. Um, let's see. Uh, yeah, so I've got some dot points here. So uh, basically, yeah, the Dead Sea Scrolls contains biblical manuscripts, which I've just said, right? But because these manuscripts predate Jesus, they provide evidence that that are relevant to the Old Testament texts, um, or at least very early forms of them, were in existence, circulating before the events of the New Testament. So I'm thinking in a secular mind, like, to argue against me, right? Let's just say, like, yeah, whatever's written in the Bible is just complete hogwash, and it's just all like fantasy, and people just think it's just stories, and maybe there's wisdom in those stories, but that's it. Um, how does I think it's like almost 300 prophecies that are in the Old Testament. How do they? How does that just all just predict Jesus? Unless there is obviously something going on where God and the Holy Spirit has worked through these people who have been inspired to write these biblical texts. Paul, I mean, obviously that's New Testament, but all these texts that we have found, it's like they are right. Like, they predicted what happened. And like we can see here, like Isaiah 53, a servant, it says suffering servant, it's a servant passage. And it's basically like the key elements is a servant figure bears sin, dies, is numbered with the transgressors, etc., often applied to Jesus. This is in Old Testament, before, Jesus was around, right? Psalms 22, my God, why have you forsaken me? Jesus quoted that on the cross. Some people will argue that, oh, why is he talking to God if he is God? But he was quoting Psalms 22. That's like, yeah, you could say someone could just die on the cross and just quote something, and that is it, and it could just be a random guy who died. But then we've got to get into the resurrection, right? And let's see here. Uh, there is. Where's my resurrection?
So is that the whole quote, but
No, they're just brief
God, oh
quotes.
God, why have you?
Oh yeah, God, oh
forsaken
God,
me?
why have you forsaken me? Yeah. Yeah, in Psalms. If you read Psalms, it's a bunch of different passages and stuff. I'd have to get into that, which could take about a good chunk. It's Psalms, like
I'd
it's
just
got
like to see some specific, like, yeah, because if it's
yeah.
something that's like, so the basic claim that you're making is that there's a set of documents that write essentially a set of what's the word for it? What's prophecies
Yeah,
that have a bunch of prophecies to be fulfilled.
and
So
these
they're
prophecies
saying
have been
things that are either to happen
mm,
or claims of such things that are then repeated later by Jesus.
mm-hmm, yeah,
That's the general claim.
yeah,
So
yeah.
essentially, what you're saying is, how could
How could we
anything
argue
about Jesus be false if we have dated proof of things
before his time?
before his time that were
Absolutely,
then performed during his time?
yeah.
Right.
What would how like I want
My
to
only
know
thing
an
is then,
argument against that.
so my only thing is then,
Oh,
how do you know that Jesus didn't have access to the Dead Sea Scrolls?
oh well, Dead Sea Scrolls is just it's just that all that it actually is. Like it wouldn't have been called the Dead Sea Scrolls if say
Yeah.
Jesus. It would just be the Old Testament. But
But how do you
Jesus,
know he didn't have access to those writings at that time? Like, what are the dates? What are the dated writings from the books of the Old Testament dated to, and how do you know that they
like
weren't?
Isaiah's, I think it's 1 to 300 BC, before Christ.
But if these happened before Jesus, then isn't
Mm.
it entirely possible that Jesus could have come across these
And just
writings?
gone, let me fulfill these,
Yeah,
and I'm just a random dude.
yeah,
It's impossible to like it. Then you see that there's a number. I have to actually. It's really hard. I have to find this number, but there's this number that I think I brought it up in the last episode of the podcast, and it was saying that it's like it's higher than the trillionth percentile that someone could fulfill these.
yeah. You did say a
it's
highly
it's
mathematical
really
number.
highly mathematically untrue that that could happen
In
because
what way? What makes it difficult to fulfill
because
those
you have
prophecies?
things like
Well, I guess you're
you
gonna have to show some of the
yeah,
prophecies
yeah,
to me.
right.
That's
So
just
like let's just go with something simple
because
is
some things are obviously
one
going to be
material
impossible to fulfill, and other things are going to be
uh
quite easy. If a prophecy is like, a guy slaughters a lamb in front of a bunch of Jewish people, then someone can
mm,
do that and then done. But if the prophecy is something innately insane or that requires a setting of the world to be in a certain way at a time, like let's just say,
mm,
like his like my imagination of something that would be entirely implausible, right, would be like, for instance, if there was a writing of a time before Christ that mentions, say, a place that is controlled by a certain group of people, and then it says in this prophecy that this place, this thing will happen with these people and this person, even though at the current time of that writing that place isn't inhabited by those people.
mm.
That would be, to me, a genuinely impossible to fulfill prophecy, if not otherwise the actual prophesized person.
Yeah, right.
Because
Yep.
how could you possibly, you know what I mean? How could you predict the future so accurately when there's no reason to believe that a place could be inhabited by these people at a certain time, or this could happen at a certain time?
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like, it would be something that's outside of the bounds of one person to fulfill. It would require a setting of the world to be. It would require some type of pre.
It'd be the perfect place at the perfect time.
Well,
Almost. Like because
it would either be that, yeah, or it
it,
would require like mass. You know what I mean? Like, you would have to employ, or you would have to then use thousands of people or large groupings of people to
mm,
to change the actual scenery, the prerequisite for the prophecy.
yeah.
It depends on the
And
prerequisite for the prophecy to me. If it makes sense for it to be unfulfillable.
well, it's like this, right? It's like you've probably heard of that biblical quote where like, oh, like it's a good one that people put up. It's like, oh, you should only wear like wool and linen. Like you should not wear a garment of two kinds of. Oh, sorry, yeah, you should not wear a garment of two kinds of material, right? So it's like wool or linen.
Mm,
Uh, like Jesus, he didn't wear two different kinds of garments. That's one. That's Deuteronomy 22:11.
okay.
Let's see.
Yeah, I've heard that before.
Yeah,
That's
but those things that have been fulfilled by Jesus, they have like different laws. I'm forgetting the laws at this given moment. But there's laws that are certainly like certain laws that were fulfilled by Jesus. That's why Christians don't have to follow that law in like Deuteronomy. Like you don't see Christians wearing just one like garment of cloth. And you could go, oh, like, yeah, someone could argue, oh yeah, you're not wearing that, like therefore you're not following Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but those laws are a separate set of laws that were fulfilled that Christians don't have to follow.
Right.
So uh yeah, but there is yeah, here we go. Isaiah 7:14, which is probably the most popular prophecy, is foretold the birth of a son to a virgin. Yeah, a prophecy fulfilled by Jesus according to Luke 1:35. Um, so foretold the birth of a son to a virgin. Like that's very particular. You're
Yeah,
like
that's pretty.
and that's Isaiah. That's before this. This is like up to like 100 to 300 years before this ever happened. How, how do you like? I want to find a counter argument, please. Because if I was, say, secular and I was trying to find what this really meant, then
Well,
what would
who?
be the truth,
Well,
right?
who wrote about the birth of Jesus? This is something I
Matthew,
don't understand.
Matthew, Mark, Luke, and
So
John.
is this something that Jesus told his disciples and they wrote about, or is this something that was written about
Unless
by someone before Jesus? Because my thinking then is, if you wanted a counter argument to it, then what if then somebody
Oh,
knew
it's sorry, Matthew and Luke, not Mark and John. Yeah, I
right?
think the counter is recorded only in the Gospels of Mark and Luke. Sorry, Matthew and Luke. Yeah.
And who were they? Were they disciples of Jesus?
Yeah. So Matthew was one of the disciples, and then Luke was. Let me pull this up actually, just so I can get you the right. Where we go? He was an evangelist. He was a companion of Apostle Paul in the author of the Gospel of Luke and the Book of Acts in the New Testament. And Paul is a very important figure. You've probably heard of Paul, if you've just I
But
don't
my
know
thinking is, where do we trace back the origin of the
of
first
Isaiah. Like,
the first telling of the story of the birth of Jesus?
well,
Where
that's
does that come from?
like the first telling of that. Of yeah. Oh well. So let me like ready. So Matthew wrote all these down in like
Mm.
if you read Matthew's really good because Matthew writes down exactly what Jesus is telling him like when
Right.
he's talking to Jesus.
Yeah.
So it's like directly, and you can get
Okay.
Bibles that are red
So
lettering,
the
so you can
story's
see.
come from Jesus then, has it?
Yeah.
So there's no other person that writes in the Bible that was witness to the birth of
Oh
Jesus.
no, there was the shepherd. There was the shepherds. There was Jesus's mother, Joseph, like
But
the Mary.
did they tell whoever wrote about this to them, or did the story only directly come from Jesus?
Uh, Good question. Well, it's that's true. I want to figure out, yeah, where would
Yeah.
the
Because Matthew
like
wasn't a follower of Jesus before he was
no,
born.
he was a tax
Yeah,
man,
so there you go. So he wasn't there witness to it. So did then the
Let's
story of
see who
Jesus's
witnessed
birth come from Jesus?
Jesus's birth. The biblical magi often called the three wise men visited Jesus after his birth, bring gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. Um, and let's see, the magi. Yeah, so it's I guess it's just the three wise men, but then do we have accounts for them to say what they saw, right?
That's sort of my point then. So it all then really relies back down on the word of Jesus as to
Mm.
whether or not that was a true fulfilled prophecy. That's kind of like Jesus has said, I fulfilled this prophecy
Yeah.
by saying I was born to a virgin mother.
But then again, I tell you what, then we have to also say that as well that Mary and Joseph also have something to say about it, right? Because Mary is the person who went through it,
But
right?
do they have something to say about it?
Yeah,
Do we
well,
have
Mary and Joseph, let's have a look at what we have um here. Which is in Luke. Yeah, well, let's have a look. Mary. That's a good one. It's a good one to look at that as well. Um, But the funny thing is as well, like that's just that one prophecy, right?
Yeah, that's just one.
That's
I
just
know.
that one
Keep going. Yeah,
prophecy.
that's just. I just.
So,
You know what I mean. Playing
but
devil's advocate here.
yeah, no, I like it though. See, this is what I like. I want this sort of this is we need this, right? I want to delve more into that, into what we can say is like historically accurate from quotes from Mary or Jesus, not Mary or Joseph.
Hmm.
Um, uh, now what's another? Here we go. So ready?
We can have a look at that on Thursday.
Yeah, we can. I would love to.
It's a great
Um,
opportunity for us to go through some stuff like this, and then
yeah,
on our midweek session, we could actually do our research.
yeah. Here we go. We've got like I mean, Isaiah 53 says suffering death as a sacrifice for sin, which that has been an Old Testament thing for a while. But then, I mean, Jesus, who was sinless, sacrificed himself for for humanity, which is what the sort of the New Testament goes into, right? Um, uh, let's see. There is a lot. Um, Zechariah, right? Hands and feet pierced. This is 12:10. It predicted the Messiah will be pierced in his hands and feet, fulfilled during the crucifixion. There is also the Mount of Olives, which is another one. Uh, Prophecy here. Let's pull this up. Um, yeah, it says it's the Mount of Olives. It's in Zechariah 14:4. It describes a future event where his feet will stand on a Mount of Olives which faces Jerusalem on the east, and the Mount of Olives shall split in two from its middle towards the east and towards the west. That goes through to that, and basically the Mount of Olives, is it Gethsemane? That's how you pronounce it.
Gethsemane.
Yeah, so it's where Jesus basically prayed on the night during his
Spelling me,
crucifixion.
go on quickly in the chat. Spell Gethsemane.
All right, guys.
50 points.
Yeah, no, Gethsemane. I mean, you could look it up. We've got the internet. But Gethsemane is, it's spelled G. I always get G. J's. Yeah, you are wrong. Gethsemane. Yeah,
Okay.
I went a bit too fast there for my brain,
Okay.
but yeah, and it is in the garden is a garden in the east, Jerusalem, at the foot of the Mount of Olives, where Jesus prayed on the night before his crucifixion. There's so much to it, like it's overwhelming.
So wait, give me the. So that's the prophecy that you just.
Yeah, like
give it
well,
to me
if
again,
Zechariah is talking about a Mount of Olives, right?
Yeah.
Where is it? I just got to pull that one up again. Zechariah.
Well, no, I guess I actually I already know the argument for it. It's okay. Who claimed that Jesus prayed down by that olive tree? Whose claim is that?
Who claimed Jesus prayed? Olive tree.
Sorry, you're gonna see me pick my nose on stream sometimes. It happens, all right. I get.
He went to the garden with Peter, James, and John to pray before his arrest. Yeah. And it is they call it the Garden of Gethsemane, which is located on the Mount of Olives after the Last Supper. According to the Bible, he went to the garden with Peter, James, and John.
Right.
Yeah.
Which were all his disciples.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, that's my only thing is that a lot of these sorts of things, like, I know for a fact there are a lot of writings, like scriptural texts that aren't from the Bible, even recordings that record that there was a person named Jesus of Nazareth.
Mm-hmm.
He existed.
Yep.
He was all over these different places.
Most scholars, it's like in the 90th percentile.
Yeah, we can almost all
claim
agree
that there was at least a person.
Yeah.
There's more evidence on Jesus than there is Alexander the Great, and we all basically say that. Yeah.
But my thing is that stories like that, they're only founded on the premise that what Jesus told his disciples was the truth.
Mm.
And
then you'd
I
have
hate to say this out loud because if I'm wrong,
indoctrination, right?
I'm
You could
sorry, this
claim
is
it could sound like,
blasphemy, but what if Jesus was lying?
mm,
That's the thing.
did he ever tell a lie throughout the biblical text? So, and
How do
the
we prove it?
crazy thing is, as well, is you still have the 500 people who claim to see Jesus post resurrection.
Yeah, I mean, see, that's a thing,
And that's,
and I can get that. But I see for that claim specifically, then that like he prayed down by this olive tree. Like for me, it wouldn't be inconceivable for people to say, okay, there's a bunch of these things. Like, let's just say hypothetically, a couple of prophecies have been fulfilled. It's heading that direction. It wouldn't be inconceivable for me to believe that, and for anyone to think that it's possible for a group of people going for this specific story, this specific lineage, trying to achieve this certain feat and build this certain premise, that they couldn't then add things like that in that weren't really, you know what I mean? They don't, like, it's not a super, like, you don't read that and instantly go, well, how do you know? Like, Jesus prayed by an olive tree down by the thing. Like, you seem like an idiot to stop and go, well, how does that? What? But then when you give a lot of validity to it by saying that it's a prophecy that's then fulfilled when you look at the Dead Sea Scrolls, well, then the opposing thing to that, I say, is there any other text that speaks of that? Or is that maybe just an extra little polish thing added in? Like, have you seen Beowulf, the movie?
no, I have
Okay,
not.
just so you can understand
I
what I
know
mean.
of it. I know of it, but
Right.
yeah, let
So you
the
can
audience
understand
know.
what I mean. Beowulf is it's an old Nordic story of a warrior monster hunter of types. There's different texts and writings of it and stuff. It's actually philosophized a lot as to whether or not it was a literal thing, he was an actual person, or if it was outlandishly, you know, overdone.
Mm.
The movie's a great example of this. It does awesomely, where he comes in and tells story. He tells a story about him fighting a certain monster, and he says, you know, I'm a monster hunter, blah, blah, blah. And somebody accuses him of losing a swimming race. And he said, yep, I did lose this swimming race with this person. He tells this story of him swimming this big race across the ocean, and halfway across the race, sea monsters attacked. And he killed like 11 monsters. And one of his own men, once he's at the end of this, telling this story, one of his own men says, last time it was 8. And then one of the other guys goes, the time before that it was 6. And my thinking is like, by the end of this movie, well, the next real thing that happens in this movie is he actually fights this great monster that's capable of killing people, and he's awesome. Like, he absolutely smashes it. He's like, you're watching it like, yep, no, he is a weapon of mass destruction. He definitely deserves all the praise there can be. But why exaggerate your numbers before about your stories? Why was he doing that? And how much easier is it to just slightly add some certain features of a story or exaggerate it in a way that isn't really looked at too particularly? It's like everyone's in agreement that he had this race and there were sea monsters in this race across the ocean, and that he lost the race but did kill sea monsters. But what's not decided upon is the number, and that's like the extra little thing that either makes him just like your average guy that got lucky or this divine monster hunter. And that evolves over time just by upping the numbers, tiny little additions.
Yeah.
So then my devil's advocate question is, how do we know that little praise by the olive tree thing isn't just one of those tiny little renditions? How do we know that isn't 6 to 8 or 8 to 11? How
Well,
do we
because
know that isn't the extra?
there's 300 of them. You'd have to prove all of those wrong.
Yeah, I guess. Well, yeah. I mean, that's fine. There's 300. But I mean, yeah, I suppose you'd have to go through every single one. But like that one to me just seems like that's not really like a
anything with validity.
Yeah, that one to me is just like, okay, cool, coincidental. It fits the bill, but that to me is kind of just like that's 6 to 8. It's like, okay, like maybe, but that's like at the same time, just as likely as that is to have happened, is just as likely or just as good of a chance that they actually just read that in the Dead Sea Scrolls and added that portion in that he did that.
Yeah. You could say that, right? You could say, yeah, this guy did fulfill these things. Like you could say, oh, it was written, and then this guy was a real thing, and then he was like, oh, let's just like make a thing called the New Testament, and yeah, let's make it seem like I did everything. could be the devil's
Well,
advocate way of looking at it, right?
what if he truly did then fulfill
But
100 prophecies and 200 of them were just extra little bonus numbers, were just bonus little unclaimable things,
if you were
unprovable things.
if you were God, I think I think you wouldn't need all those little extra things because you'd fulfill them. If you're a God, if you're Jesus is the Son of God, the Son of Man, like those little things, they would just all add up to be just more and more little parts of the pieces that add to the whole picture.
I guess
Obviously in the scriptural defense.
the funny thing is to it then is that it's how viable is the claim of, you know, or how worth it is it to make this massive appeal where you have like 300 foretold bloody prophecies that are fulfilled. And that's what I'm saying is I'm not like,
well,
just say hypothetically it's not this mass thought up thing to do 300 prophecies, but
yeah,
let's
like
just say
that, yeah,
hypothetically
yeah.
he fulfilled a few and that was like, oh, this is working, why not, like, you know, he fought a few monsters, but why not say it was 8? Not, you know, why not say it was 11 now? Why not say he fulfilled 300 now?
Because that would be bearing false witness, and in the Old Testament it talks about that in the 10 Commandments, not to do.
I guess, yeah. Well,
it's lying, right?
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it's just if
if God did that, then the Bible wouldn't be true, right? Because if God, like, if we're trying to make God consistent,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, but God didn't fulfill the prophecies. Jesus did.
Yeah, but God, Jesus, and the Holy Spirit, the Trinity, that are all, you know, one as well. But like, yeah, it's God in humbling himself into human form.
Yeah, but you have to go on the premise that he was a man. Like, you have to go on the premise. What we know for a fact is there was a man. What we don't know for a fact is that he was walking God. You know what I mean? That's the premise. Because you can't sit on the premise that there's no way he ever lied, or there's no way that was false, because
that's the thing is, it's, I think, one of the most significant parts in history that a lot of people sort of come to the conclusion of in the whole, like, to conclude this, I guess, is the resurrection trustworthy? Because I mean, if you,
well, that's the biggest one, isn't it?
Right, yeah, it is, because if that at the end of the day is, you know, if you're any sort of person that, you know, tries to figure out what that means, and if someone actually does resurrect from the dead and have some good things to say, I will listen to you very, very carefully. Like that is someone speaking with a very much validity and you know, walking the walk. But you know, that all comes to whether or not how we view the resurrection, which is something maybe we could delve into, as well as the prophecies, maybe next episode.
Yeah, I'd like to see if you could, because what I really want to see about this, what would really convince me and what would make sense to me as what would really prove your point is, like I said, some type of prophecy that's fulfilled that doesn't just sit on the grounds of it was one
he said,
man.
she said.
Well,
right?
Not even that, or it's like it would take more than just one man or a group of these people to either lie or fulfill that thing. It would take a larger thing. You know what I mean? Like, for instance,
because they wouldn't.
Here's a prophecy.
They wouldn't lie, and like, because they all still confess that Jesus was like the Lord, even to their death, while still getting skinned alive upside down. And you would tell a lie to save your life.
You would. But that again sits on the premise of whether or not that's a thing. What I mean is, what would be a provable thing is, say, here's an example, right? If if I made a prophecy that there will be a man called Jesus that kills, like, you know, that butchers a trunked beast before there's any evidence there's trunked beasts. That would be a prophecy. That would be like, well, how the fuck do you come up with that? Because it's like saying there will be a man called Jesus that slaughters a lamb. Well, Jesus can read that and go, I'll go slaughter a lamb. Ticked off the list,
right? Yeah.
it needs to be for me to
Something
see
in
that
that
it's something that's
informationally. Okay.
needs to be
Let
something
me
outside of the bounds of the possibility of one man to accomplish. It needs to
let the
have a
po
prerequisite.
I reckon next episode I'll let the poet cook.
Yeah.
I'm gonna find some solid stuff to talk
Because
about
if
on
you
this
could
one.
come up with
That's a
that
yeah.
would really that would crack me.
Mm.
But it would need to be something that has a prerequisite that would also be part of the prophecy. It's you're not making a prophecy based on the world that exists and what's possible for one man to accomplish after reading. It would need to be a prophecy that you couldn't possibly read and accomplish being anybody. It would need to be something that you could read and be like, well, it just so happens like this is it's a changed something has evolved, something has changed, something is new, something is different that means that before was an impossibility,
Mm.
where it is now
Yeah.
it is a possibility only now.
Mm.
that
Yeah,
would
because it's
that would
just
to me be like,
predating something that wasn't around but was there, right? Yeah, I get where you. I pick up what you get
even one
putting
of
down.
those would really crack me, and I think
Mm.
anyone justifiably enough, I think if you could find something like that,
Yeah.
that would really get me.
Cool. Cool. All right. This is gonna be very
Same as
interesting.
someone prophesizing about, like, 30 men, like, like like crossing the sky from this country to another before we had planes.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
That's a
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
prophecy.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? That, like, Jesus can't go, well, let's build a plane. Like, Jesus, it has to be like, well, Jesus could only cross that plane because there was planes invented by the time that rolled around that he was alive. Like, it would
Mm.
need to be something that was, yeah, not just prophesized a man could do. I guess the best way to put it is, if the prophecy's fulfillable tomorrow by any man or by any person, then it's kind of, you know what I mean? It doesn't sit on too much foundation as a prophecy.
Mm.
If I could write it and then tell you to go do it, and that's like ticked off the list right now, that kind of makes it you know what I mean? There's not too much to it. It's too easily accomplishable to a
What
degree.
What about the virgin birth? We can't do that.
I mean,
But then
that's
that's on
good, but that's on the
on
grounds
the
that it's real
grounds of
too.
Jesus's word, right?
Exactly. That only
Mm.
sits on that too. That's not like,
But we've never ever had a virgin birth until I guess until that moment. But again, sits on the grounds of the claim of Mary, the claim of Joseph, the claims of the three wise men, the claim of Jesus.
again, if I wanted to be super devil's advocate, just remember that we all know who Seth Rogen is, but the person who wrote most of his movies, none of us have seen his face.
Yeah, right. What? Oh, wow.
He has a business partner that writes all of his stuff with him. It's just Seth Rogen is the actor in all of it. If you look
Yeah,
up,
right.
he
He
has a
does the
best mate
performative.
that writes all. He owns half of the company, the
Ah,
production company that he does with Seth. Well, what's not? Yeah, Seth. What's his last name?
Rogan. No.
No. Who's the no? His name? No, James
Seth.
Franco. Sorry, James Franco.
Oh, yeah,
How they
yeah.
did like a mixed thing. Seth Rogen and that. Yeah.
Yeah. They used to do.
That's
Yeah.
yeah. That's what I mean. There's ghostwriters, and I can't. I if I really wanted to play devil's advocate on it, like I said, there's nothing outside of like a prophecy that needs to have a changed world, a changed prerequisite for it to even be fulfillable.
Mm.
Then it's quite possible for me to turn around tomorrow to my friend's kid and say, hey, there's this book of all these prophecies. Let's build your kid up to be this thing. We're going to say that his mum's a virgin,
Mm.
and we're going to do this whole thing, and he's going to go down in history and rah, 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 and you know what I
Mm.
mean? Like, people have died for less. People have
But
died for less of
but
their honor
then
to stick
but
by
then it would
something.
have to go to the point of the people who saw all the healings of what Jesus has done throughout his time.
Well, then
And
that's,
if
yeah,
you
that's the
could say
grounds for
then
that.
everyone had a group lie, and then maybe we put that down as something in the Bible, then like devil's advocate, I don't know how much validity like
Yeah, so man, you can't be
a-
stupid. Too. You
and
can't be sitting there like, you know what I mean.
mm,
If I walk out of a room of people and 30 people in that room all wrote a bird flew in the window, if I go, there's no proof of that, I'm a bit of a fuckwit. But
mm,
at this, you still have to use
it's
some
I
sense of reasonability
well
too. So
it's
it's like,
it's now it's really now then going back, like going to trust of the eyewitness testimony
yep.
as well, because like you could say, Jesus could have told these people to say these
So I
things,
guess then that
but
makes a difference. See, that's why the stories of Jesus doing things like, say, that's why the larger story is the what's it called when you come back to life? Respawn. The
Respawn.
respawn of Jesus Christ.
He
was
did
the most-
respawn, like he did basically. Like he didn't like it wasn't like you know what I mean? Like
Oh, what did he have?
he
Like a
resurrected.
24-hour timer? That'd be crazy. I wouldn't play that game.
It was over the course of 3 days.
3-day wait timer after death. That's insane.
I think it was
so
3.
long.
It has to be. If I'm wrong about that,
Let's not play the game of Nazareth. Yeah. No, I just mean like that story. The resurrection is the most.
yeah, 3 days.
Is the most
for some reason I was
called
like,
upon
am I
one. Yeah,
wrong about this?
I thought 3 days at first too. I don't know why I said
Yeah.
it, but see that's the most called upon story because there is writings of that from other people. There's so much evidence that backs that up that it gets insane when you start looking at it. But my thinking is that, but there needs to be that on the topic that like we're doing. Like that's you can't sit the validity of one account on the validity of all these other accounts and go, well, like, you know, that made like this is most likely true, or there's so much evidence for this that it's likely that all these other things are true. Like I want to look at each individual thing in that case.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
So when you say, you know, he prayed by an olive branch, what I need to see then is, and even the virgin birth, then what I need to see is something that is, yeah, something that isn't possible to just scheme and accomplish like right then and
You can
there.
be like, oh, how did that happen? And
Like, you know, like
work,
another
right? I
example,
getcha.
like imagine like they're talking about a city in the middle of a country where there is no city at the time. Like that, it's like you can't build a city that quickly to fulfill a prophecy in the time of someone's life like that. You know what I mean? Some great big city can't. There wouldn't be that many people in on it to that degree in that smaller case. So that would be that'd be something that I'd have a lot more kind of interest, or I guess I'd be a lot more stuck to argue against, or yeah, it'd be difficult to play devil's advocate against that. But
Yeah, well,
anything that you
interesting.
tell me only stands on the
The
word of his disciples.
Yeah, or the eyewitness testimony, I guess.
Well,
And
no,
then
even another eyewitness testimony. You know what I mean? Because if there's a bunch of eyewitness testimony saying that there was a virgin birth, rah rah rah, but the eyewitness testimony they're talking about is only claimed by those people. Like, it's all good for me to tell you. Like, if I tell you this person stole this thing, you go, oh, yeah, how do you prove it? I say to you, well, all these other people seen it. You go, oh, yeah. Like, you'd need those people to say that. It's not just on me to say, well, all these people seen it. You'd actually need accounts from those people to do that. To be able to, you know what I mean? If you just believe me based on as simple as that.
true.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
doesn't make any sense. Anyway, we've got comments.
Yeah, we do have comments. Jax, we've got Big Doggy 1969. He says, Jax, part of religion is having a belief in what it brings to your heart. Ease up, mate. You can't get too technical. And then we've got another one from him saying, Jax, your argument over religion sounds like you want to be Peter/Simon and put your hands into the nail wounds in before you believe. Before you believe, like, mate. Yeah,
Well,
he goes,
look. It's not about like. Well, yeah, I'm not. Just
blessed
gonna,
are the ones
I
who
can't just
believe
jump.
without seeing. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not just gonna jump. Like, I'm not just gonna jump into something that's as easy as like, well, that's it. It's gonna benefit me if I do. Like, and also it's dishonest too, because if I have any genuine concern or any genuine, you know, like kind of I'm not sure about this, that doesn't make sense to me, I don't believe it, I'm not going to go parading myself around as a Christian or claim I'm a Christian or even like start to jump in that boat because I'm genuinely unsure. I'm just being honest. You know what I mean? Like the world makes sense to me in a certain way, and that's how I am and that's how I see it, and I'm not going to act like I don't see it that way and play this game of lies and act like I'm ignorant to certain questions or certain possibilities just so I can say that I am this thing. And I'm not saying anyone is doing the wrong thing by doing so, but like, let's just be honest. People see the world different ways. People come up with different ideas. People have, you know, some people can conceptualize arguments better than others. And sometimes I can see the possibility of something outside of the you know. the story you're telling me, and I want to
Mm.
explore that. I can't. It's not as
It's
easy for me to just go, oh, okay, well, yeah, that makes sense. Cool, I'm a Christian now. Like that's just completely dishonest.
mm. No, that's fair enough. I think the thing is as well is that we all have to put faith in something, whether it not be religion or anything, but the faith and the trust of what happens around us in society. I could imagine Cliff. I remember Cliff was saying something about do you test the medicine that you get from the pharmacy every time you get your medication,
Funnily enough,
um, and
I
uh,
don't take it.
you don't well what?
See, this is, but you like you.
But it's a good,
So you
it's a
sort of
good
know
point
about
you
this,
brought
but
up,
funnily
Big
enough,
Doggy.
I
I get.
don't see. I don't take like anyone who knows me knows I don't take Panadol. Like I'm not big on, like I'm not big on taking medication for things. I don't take antibiotics when I get sick. I sleep it out. I sweat it out. Like people know me.
That's
For being
true.
that guy
Yeah,
who
I don't
literally
see.
wears a
I don't think
jumper
I've
and
ever.
like a hot shower. I don't take. Like I haven't ever been big on medication and putting chemicals of things that I don't understand. Like I won't put something in my body if I don't know what it is. Like I know what emulsifier is and what it does,
Mm.
so I'm okay to drink things with emulsifiers in them. Like I'm not, and I like obviously like
But
look, I'm
do you,
not
yeah?
no okay.
Do you
There's some
trust that
things
these
that I go
companies
bang
that you
bang and I have
go
a couple of drinks here and there,
right?
but it's very different when it comes to pharmaceutical drugs.
Mm.
Like that's very different.
We put faith in these companies to give us the right
To some
the
degree,
right supplements
to
or the
some
right
degree, but if
mm.
we're talking about me specifically and why I'd be playing devil's advocate, like if the question is
I
like,
do
then
like
the comment
yeah.
is like, you need to blah blah. If it's aimed at me, then it's not about what we do; it's about what I do. Then, and what I do is I definitely don't just go popping whatever pill my doctor tells me to take or anything like that. In fact, haven't seen a doctor in like a bit unless I was really required to. I don't go for regular checkups. I'm not that kind of person. I believe in my own health. I believe in, healthy eating, exercise, sunlight. I understand how most vitamins that are required for us to live work and how we get them, most nutrients. And I, yeah, I'm not very trusting. No, I'm not super trusting of the pharmaceuticals. Like I'm not. I know I don't trust it. So like for me, when it's like we all trust and we all put it out, like yeah, maybe, and people do, and people might do that. But for me personally, no. I'll be honest, and that is what I'm like. If I don't go putting anything in my body, I'm not going to go parading around saying I am of a certain faith or religion, or say I believe in something that I am questionable of. Now, if one day, and I do hope for this, that's the point. It's a search. I don't want to be devil devil's advocate for the rest of my life, but I do want to be honest.
Mm.
You know what I mean? I do want to, if there is something that you're a bullfed. Yeah, if there's something that doesn't make sense to me or that I'm not unsure of, I need to explore that. I think that's part of the problem. Is like that's the big thing in politics, in religion, in just day-to-day socials between people is you have conversations, and as soon as you're like, people are willing to stand solidly on grounds that they're not even fully sure of, and as soon as you feel any pushback on your beliefs, you stand up even harder and poke your chest up even harder, and people get even more defensive of their beliefs, and nobody's willing to stop and have a consideration in, whether or not maybe they're wrong.
Mm.
Like, you're not perfect. You weren't, like, if you had it all worked out, we would all be praising you and following you. So, like, maybe just consider you could be wrong, and that's just what I would like to do in life, rather than saying no. Like, I'm not saying there's definitely not a God. I've never said there's definitely no chance Jesus is wrong, blah blah.
Yeah, no,
I don't think
you,
that.
you
Like,
think
if I've ever
there's
said that, like, actually, sorry, at the start of this podcast, I said bullshit. That was clearly a joke. Yeah, I'm not, I don't have a firm belief like in that one way or the other. I have morals that I live by that, people would know me for, but I definitely don't have a belief system figured out yet, because I yeah, I don't have all the answers though. I don't have answers to the questions I have fully yet. And
mm.
this to me is potentially an answer, but I got to be honest in the way that,
I'll
like,
dig
yeah,
through. I'll dig through.
I need something tangible.
Yeah.
I need something that
Okay.
I really can't refute. If I can refute it, I can refute it. It's as simple as that. If I can't, I can't. Easy.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's well
But we'll investigate.
I will find some very good good references of
Yep.
scripture and more things to sort of challenge these and then challenge and play devil's advocate, you know.
Yeah.
And I want to be challenged myself. I like listening to people who have a different opinion because it strengthens my belief system every time more every time, which is
Mm.
it's just something that I feel like we should practice a lot more is sort of putting our beliefs up to the test and really seeing the validity in what we believe. And
Yeah. That's what it's for. That's what
mm,
this show's for. It's the whole dead set thing. What is dead set? What is the
dead
truth?
set,
We're not
dead
left, we're
set.
not right, we're not conservative, we're not
Well, I'm
progressive. Or
conservative.
he is, yeah, but the show itself, the show doesn't represent the beliefs of any individual host of the show. The
Mm,
show is itself is an exploratory, it's
yeah,
an informative, exploratory social field where you can come and hopefully learn something
and we want to
or
have people on here as well. We want to have as many people as we can to
yeah,
sort
we
of get
definitely
different
we got some
opinions, get
ideas
have
on some
different
people. We'll be doing some
discussions,
calls.
and
We'll be doing calls in the next couple of weeks. We'll have the
yeah, yeah.
opportunity. If you
We'll
want to
get
call up,
probably
do any Discord streams, anything like
Discord.
that.
Yeah,
You want to come on,
we'll
say
probably
your piece.
we'll get a Discord probably going at some point in within the next week. We'll put it in the link tree so you guys can just
Yeah.
hop onto that anytime. And
I think we'll do another quick toilet break part, and then we'll come back to social commentary finish. Yeah.
well, I think we've actually really covered a lot. We've been streaming for about like 2 hours now.
True.
So I mean, I think really we can whatever we want to cover, we can cover next episode if you like.
Yeah, we'll be back
There,
on Thursday. I guess that's the
yeah,
thing.
and I mean, there's plenty more to sort of discuss about, and I'll definitely have some more stuff to inform. I think I hope my audio was all right just then.
Yep.
But yeah, just I'll have more things to inform you about, and have more things to have tackled
Yep.
by the devil's advocate perspective. Yeah.
Sweet. Done.
And I'm very excited. Very excited.
All right. Cool. Shout out Copacabana Sellers.
Yeah, old mate at Copa.
Yep, you're a legend. Any others you want?
Thank you for listening. Thank you
Shout
for
out
tuning
Australian nurses.
in. Thank you, Emma from Canada, for tuning in. I really appreciate it. You're a legend. Miss ya. What else we got here, eh? I think that's basically it for our comments. It's actually
Yeah,
quite
thank
nice
you
to
for
see.
everyone.
Yeah, for
viewers.
engaging.
Yeah, if you are.
Shout out to Tani as well. Oh, Miss Yam. Oh, thanks. Thanks
how
for
good.
tuning in.
Yeah,
Yeah, and yeah, Tani as well. Yeah, your mate
yeah,
from.
yeah. If you are watching the stream, you get special privileges.
Yeah, that's
as one
it.
of our first time viewers. So send me a message so I know that it's you. Give me some proof, better proof than the olive tree, and I will I will definitely put you on the list of first shirt receivers, I guess.
Yeah. We need to get some.
We'll definitely be doing
Once
some
once we
stuff
start
soon.
getting pumping some more content out, getting some more juice. For
Hey,
the,
I just want clothes. I don't want to buy them from an expensive shop.
Actually, you know what? Yeah, that's true. I'm running out of shirts to wear. Anyway, that's
Yeah, cool.
That will.
Yeah. Well, shout out to all of our viewers
Yeah,
again.
Nick as well. Shout out to Nick.
yeah.
Shout out to Shannon. I think
Yeah.
I shouted you out last
We've
episode,
probably
but
got-
shout out Shannon.
and our part-time cameraman Chris, who's taken all of our Instagram photos so far, and will probably be continuing to do so.
Yeah, we need to get. Chris is legend. We
Yeah.
need to get him and Chief on at some point.
Yeah, that'll be good. But we'll
All right, guys.
Dead set be back on Thursday.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
See you
tune
next
in.
Thursday.
7 p.m. guys. Tune in.
All right, catch up.
AEST. That's
Yeah,
it.
something like that.
Yeah, however it's pronounced. All right. Take care, Garnier, guys. Much love.
Bye.
Bye.